The dream of a nation to land on the moon would take fearless explorers, noble heroes, and the ultimate flyboys.
Did anybody see that?
See what, sir?
A fly. 3 to be exact.
Nat is the leader, IQ has the brains, and Scooter has the guts.
And now you see why not every 3D animated movie was worth seeing in the theater, because, my God, that movie looked absolutely horrible. From the bad animation to the, the choppiness of it, to the characters who are just basic stock characters. I mean, it's the Alvin and the Chipmunk syndrome. You've got to have, the leader of the group, you've got to have the smart one, and you've got to have the fat kid. I mean, it's pretty much that. And the idea is pretty interesting. You have a film that's a fictionalized retelling of the Apollo 11 mission, incorporating a story of 3 young flies that stow away on the rocket to fulfill their dreams of going up to the moon, while their families take on a group of Soviet flies who try to sabotage the mission. But then again, when your cast list includes Kelly Ripa, Christopher Lloyd, Nicolette Sheridan, and Tim Curry, chances are you're not in for a real good treat. And even Tim Curry, as much as Tim Curry can usually elevate a film to another level, like, you don't go to an animated movie to see the highlight names of Kelly Ripa and Nicolette Sheridan. But Buzz Aldrin's also in the movie, too, I guess. So, yeah, this is a pretty bad movie. I don't think I need to tell you why. I mean, you could see it in that trailer alone. It's just a really bad-looking film. It's a terrible-looking film. It's very choppy. It's not well put together. It's a lazy film, so.
First,
Dad, you raised another mummy.
discover the legend.
Welcome to the 20th century!
Behold the mystery.
Abominable snowman!
And experience the power of China's Dragon Emperor.
Die, you mummy, die!
The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Rated starts August 1st.
God, this series went downhill pretty quickly, and not even really quickly. I mean, we're between 7 years between The Mummy Returns and this movie, and by that point, I don't think anybody really gave a shit about The Mummy anymore. And in this one, you have Jet Li starring as the evil Emperor Han, who was cursed by the sorceress Zizhan, who transformed him and his armies into mummies. In 1946, the explorer Rick O'Connell, once again played by Brendan Fraser, and his wife Evelyn, not played by Rachel Weisz, but this time played by Maria Bello, are invited by the British government to take a relic, the Diamond, the Eye of Shangri-La, to China. The ancient stone is capable of resurrecting the Emperor Han and of pointing the way to Shangri-La and the eternal pool of life. When the couple rescues China, they meet their son Alex, who's apparently aged 15 years since the last movie. I mean, when we last saw him, he was a little kid, but now he's a full-fledged adult at this point. But they find him, who has discovered the tomb of Han, and Evelyn's brother, Jonathan Carnahan, played once again by John Hannah. The O'Connells are betrayed by their friend Professor Roger Wilson, who is associated with General Yang. Yang wants to serve Emperor Han, so he resurrects the mummy, and they head to Shangri-La. The guardian of Han's tomb and Zi's daughter, Lin, tells them the only way to destroy Han are to prevent him from reaching Shangri-La, or being stabbed with or stabbing his heart with a cursed dagger. Excuse me. And like I said, man, nobody really gave a shit about the Mummy movies anymore at this point. I mean, there really was not much more you could do at this point. I mean, this feels like a film that was just being made because they were just desperate for some money here. I mean, they suckered people in with this movie. They don't even have the same people back from the last movie. And, man, let me tell you something. As much as I love Maria Bello, she ain't no Evelyn O'Connell. I mean, Rachel Weisz made that character her own in the other Mummy movies. But here, she just went from being kind of an interesting character to just a generic lead female character to go alongside Brendan Fraser. I mean, there's nothing about her in this movie that's noteworthy or anything spectacular. And there's definitely a difference between her and Rachel Weisz. I mean, there's definitely two different ways to portray this character. And this one failed miserably at that. And on top of that, you got a director like Rob Cohen, who clearly has a problem admitting the fact that he's getting much older and he should not be doing these type of movies anymore. I mean, this is a guy that still thinks that he's still worthy of making teenage movies. I mean, he was still making teenage movies long after this movie came out. Anyone remember The Boy Next Door, that terrible Jennifer Lopez stalker movie where, you had the guy they were trying to push as his next big actor, Ryan Guzman? But, yeah, that's the same director who made this film. And this film here, yeah, It's just not a good movie. It's not a good film at all. The effects in this film are terrible. The comedy is just terribly bad. I mean, everybody in this movie is just giving off, when it comes to the comedy, the cheap punchlines, the three Yetis who act like the Three Stooges. Like, it's just so incredibly bad. It's a terrible movie. It's a film that's absolutely unnecessary, and it just, there was no reason to make this movie at all. This is a terrible film, but I'll give it this. It was certainly much more entertaining than the Tom Cruise movie, and that was supposed to be the start of a new universe of films that, never went anywhere for obvious reasons. Because, you can't just expect to just copy and paste what Marvel did and do it in half the time. And, that's what DC failed at that, and the Dark Universe failed at that, too. So, Mummy 2 with the Dragon Emperor, not a very good film, obviously. So,
lived a hero. You are the one we were waiting for. You will free our people. Ahead of his time.
As one! He is not a god!
10,000 BC. Rated PG-13. Starts March 7th.
And you are not 300. As much as you want to try to do that, opening on the same weekend as 300 did the year before, you are not 300, especially with this director involved, Roland Emmerich. The story is about as simple as you would think it would be. The journey of a prehistoric tribe of mammoth hunters. But no. Not with Roland Emmerich, it can't be that easy. No, we have to make it even more complicated and even stupider than you think. This is absolutely terrible. This is a movie that is so bad on so many levels, from the terrible acting, from its leading stars, Stephen Strait, Camilla Bell, Cliff Curtis, a great actor, wasted in this movie. Then again, he's been wasted in some other big blockbusters too, The Last Airbender, perfect example, but no. If only that was the end of it all, but no. We have to go ahead and put together some of the worst visual effects possible for these creatures that they have in this movie. Like, the creatures in here are horrible. So bad in so many ways. Like, you've got a tiger that's got Woody Woodpecker syndrome. You know how Woody Woodpecker would always be a different size in every cartoon during the Golden Age, but for those of you who don't know who Woody Woodpecker is out there, he used to be Universal's mascot before the Minions pushed him out. Just saying, but anyway, that's totally off subject there. But, the creatures in here look terrible. The lion literally is one size in one scene, and then he's a different size in another scene altogether. And if that wasn't bad enough, what they decide to do here is completely ignore the laws of physics and the laws of common sense. Because, there'll be scenes in this movie where people are literally walking through snow. They're walking through snowy mountain areas, and then they'll just be like, literally on one side it'll be snowing, but then on the other side, it's the African jungle. What? Who looked at this and said, no, this makes total sense here? Like, they'll do that, there'll be areas where they're like in ancient Egypt or something like that. Like, the mapping on this world is terrible. It's one of the worst things you could possibly imagine for a movie. It fails on every single level. It tries to make you think it's smart when it's really, really stupid. And just everything about it fails on every single level. This is one of the worst films you will ever see in your entire life. And this is just what shows that Roland Emmerich has clearly lost his way, because holy crap, man, what a downfall this guy has had. After his glory days with Independence Day and The Patriot and The Day After Tomorrow, even Godzilla would have been made more sense than anything in this pile of garbage did. And that movie was terrible too, but at least that was entertainingly bad. This is just, oh my god, this movie is a disaster on so many levels. I think you get the idea here. Avoid 10,000 BC like the fucking plague.
What kind of kid would rather sit in a crummy classroom than be out here?
What kind of father goes fishing when he should be looking for a new job?
Fine.
Fine. And don't forget today.
What's today?
Election day, dummy.
Well, I'm not even registered.
I registered for you in the mail.
Well, that's great. I could get jury duty now.
Mr. Johnson, your vote didn't count. You're entitled to recast your ballot in a timely manner.
How about I just whisper it to you then? Right here, we get over right now, and you can listen to it. Wasn't there last night?
Yes, I tell anybody about that.
A single or regular ballot is holding up a final decision for the American presidency.
So many.
One American citizen will effectively choose the next president of the United States.
This is OJ big. Bigger.
All we have to do is win over one American mind. I want to know what he reads, what television shows he watches.
Welcome to the party, bud. People really like you, bud. They feel like you're one of them. I don't really feel comfortable with this.
So you have a movie that I was kind of optimistic about when I first saw this movie in theaters. I mean, it's an interesting idea overall. This takes place in November of 2004 in New Mexico, where you have Kevin Costner playing Bud, who's a slacker whose one good thing in his life is his engaging fifth-grade daughter, Molly, played by Madeline Carroll. On Election Day, Bud is supposed to meet her at the polling place. When he doesn't show, she sneaks about and is about to vote when the power goes off. It turns out that New Mexico's electoral votes will decide the contest, and there it's tied with one vote needed recasting, and that's Bud's. The world's media and both presidential candidates, played by Dennis Hopper and Kelsey Grammer, one of them is the current president, descend on Bud in anticipation of his revote in 2 weeks. Can the clueless Bud, even with the help of Molly and a local TV reporter, handle this responsibly? I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of good ideas in the movie. The idea that the election for the president of the United States comes down to one single vote from one person. This would be something that should be easily taken care of in a matter of moments. But you know good and goddamn well this would never happen in real life. I mean, we just live in a world where politics are so much wider than you expect it to be, and the fact that it would ever come down to one vote, never going to happen. And even if it's not even with this last election that we had, which okay, controversial opinion time. I should probably not be saying this, but yeah, I was Kevin Costner in this case here. I was somebody who didn't really care about the election, and I didn't even vote. I mean, I think if you watch me long enough, you know who I would have voted for, but I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't feel like voting for it. Plus, my one vote was not really going to make much of a difference in general, considering who won and the fact that he won by a wide margin. I'll just say that. So, yeah. So if you want to blame somebody for how the country went, yeah, you can blame me for that. But that's a whole other thing altogether. And I'm just going to convincingly turn the comments off and the likes on this because, I don't know, I just feel like I should do that. But back to the movie. And the movie, I wanted to like the movie, man. There's a lot of people in this movie I really like. Kevin Costner, Paula Patton, Kelsey Grammer, Dennis Hopper, Nathan Lane, Stanley Tucci, George Lopez, Judge Reinhold's in the movie, Chip Eston from Whose Line Is It Anyway, Nana Visitor from Star Trek, Mayor Winningham. A lot of good people in this movie, but just the way that it's handled, man. It's a film that just really, I mean, it's trying way too hard to be a movie where it just really, like, it really is trying way too hard to figure out which direction it really wants to go to, and it just really falls apart when it is in the worst possible way. It's a film that really should have been something that should have been much more intriguing, something much more interesting. It should have been a much better political satire, or like find a direction where you want to go. Do you want to be a satire? Do you want to be a more serious film? Like, what do you want to be? And it's funny because I think King of the Hill, when they did the episode where, you know, Hank can't decide if he wants to vote for Bush because his handshake was limp, and, you know, he goes to Mexico and he basically tells Luann, who had enlisted as part of the Communist Party and was going to vote, and she ends up calling Hank and asking her, you know, why are you not voting? And it's just like, well, I can't vote for somebody who has a limp handshake. And she gives that nice speech about, you know, what voting is all about. Essentially saying that it doesn't really matter who you vote for as long as you vote. Like, I mean, that should be the main, but that did a much better job of trying to get that point across than a movie like this did, which I think really had trouble figuring out what direction it wanted to go, or what even the candidates really wanted to do, because, I mean, they changed their opinions to try to appease this one guy, and it really has one of those big FU endings where it's just like, yeah, you can leave it ambiguous if you want to, but I'm sorry, this is one of those movies where you can't really do that, because, yeah, it backfires big time what they do here in this movie, and it just didn't work for me. It's just a film that had so much potential with it, with the cast they had here, but it just falls apart with a story that sounded intriguing at first, but just can't decide which direction it wants to go, and leaves it on an ambiguous, figure-it-out ending that really has no idea what the main goal of it was. What am I supposed to take away from this movie? Like, I mean, it's just not a good movie, man. It's a film that I had so much more hype for, but it really failed to get its message across clearly. So, yeah, I'll skip on Swing Vote. It's definitely the worst thing I've seen from Kevin Costner, which says a lot, because I've been recently trashing the guy recently for Horizon and all that stuff. I like him. He's a really good actor, but, man, he does some things where it's just kind of like, you just can't do this type of stuff, man. Spending all that money on these bloated blockbusters that nobody is going to go see, like The Postman and Horizon, I have nothing against the guy. I think he's a great actor, but, man, when he picks bad movies, he picks some really, really bad movies. And this is definitely one of those bad movies.
Class, we have a new student today.
You never forget your first love.
Her name is Christabel.
Just ask Nate Cooper. 20 years later,
Aren't you Christabel Abbott? I think we went to school together.
Nate Cooper.
he's getting a second chance.
So what is it that you do these days?
I am a personal trainer.
You should check out my gym. My roommate and I are going there this afternoon for yoga. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
But the only way to get her
Hey, Cooper.
is to get past
You remember June?
her.
Yes, who could forget June? It's a very well-known law of physics. The hotness of one girl is directly proportional to the ugliness of her best friend.
Yeah, look at how disgusting that woman is. Clearly, if you look up Christine Lakin in real life, you could tell that she is probably much uglier than Paris Hilton. Oh, wait. No, she's not. She's actually kind of hot. And much hotter compared to Paris Hilton back in 2008. 2025, that might be a different exception, because I don't know why, but Paris Hilton in 2025 looks much, much hotter now than she did in 2008. More hotter than Christine Lakin? I don't know. I'd have to look at both pictures from then and now, but this is the Hottie and the Nottie, and you can already see the BS that this movie is. Essentially, what's the plot? You ever seen that American Dad episode where Steve wants to go and bang the hot chick when she won't date him unless she finds a date for her ugly best friend, played by Marissa Jared Winokur from Stacked and Hairspray. Yeah, imagine that, except not as funny, not as clever, and much, much stupider and much more ridiculously bad. This is a film that they had such high hopes for. Supposedly, this was supposed to be a Christmas release. For a wide release, like they thought this was going to be the biggest hit of the holiday season, and yeah, that was not the case at all. They realized, oh wait, we realized that we have a movie with Paris Hilton, and she's supposed to be the hottie of this movie, and not the other chick who is a million times much hotter than she is in real life, and again at that time. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the movie is terrible. This is a really, really bad movie that has had this story done much better in, like I said, American Dad. American Dad had 30 minutes to do this story, and they did a much better job in it than anything that this movie does. This movie wastes a lot of good talent in here. Joel Moore can be very funny. I've seen him in a lot of movies where he can be very funny. Christine Lakin is a very good actress. You watch her on Step by Step. She's been in a lot of other good comedies as well. She's great on Family Guy playing Joyce Kinney. There is a lot of good people that involved in this movie, but this movie is such a bad one-note premise, and it doesn't have anything of value that makes it worth it in the long run. And it's just such a terrible movie, and it really did seem like a last-ditch effort to save whatever was left of Paris Hilton's acting career, because, yeah, acting, if you will, because, yeah, when your biggest movie is House of Wax and you weren't even great in that, there's clearly a problem here, and it's you. You're the problem with this movie. You should just not even bother acting. But But then again, I'm not. But then again, I'm not the one I'm not the agent that's telling a hotel heiress to do whatever she wants. She pretty much can do whatever she wants at this point. And I loved how around the time of this movie they made it seem like this was such a big deal for this movie bomb, because heaven forbid that Paris Hilton doesn't have enough money to do whatever the hell she wants. And yeah, there's a reason why this movie has not had any notable significance since it came out, because everyone knew it was bad right from the get-go, and nobody went to go see it. And quite frankly, I don't really need to tell you why that is, because it's such a bad concept, it's such a bad idea for a film, and it's just like, just go and, like I said, go and watch the American Dad episode where Steve has to do the exact same thing, because it's much funnier, much more enjoyable, and it has a lot more memorable moments to it than anything that this pile of garbage does. So yeah, you can avoid the Hottie and the Nottie as much as you can. Avoid it like the plague. So yeah, that's the Hottie and the Nottie for you.
The year's biggest movies are going over the edge.
Stop kicking people into the pit of death, really.
On January 25th,
Happy Pete, what you laughing at, cracker?
the bigger the hit,
Spidey, you're fired.
the harder they fall.
Bow to me, or you will die. Deal or no deal?
What about Sparta? From the guys who saw 300.
We about to stomp the yard. Yo, now can't nobody You got served.
Comes the next big epic comedy.
Now we match.
Transform! Leave Benny alone! Please!
Meet the Spartans.
Bow down to the great Xerxes.
I'm a Hilton. I don't bow, but I do bend over.
Once again, Rambo lost to this movie. You fucking people out there, maybe not all of you out there, because maybe some of you might have been. I would like to think you weren't my audience is not too young to remember this movie coming out, but who knows? You never know at this point. I would like to think that they were in the people that watch this video are in the same demographic as I am, in their 30s, and either way, there's no excuse for how bad this movie is, for the fact that this movie was a big success, because good lord. Yeah, you see, it's mostly a parody of 300, but parody in quotation marks. It's more of a, hey, remember when 300 was the thing? Hey, remember when Britney Spears went crazy and she decided to cut all her hair off? Hey, remember Happy Feet? Remember Shrek the Third? Remember Chris Chan's Leave Britney Alone video? Remember Deal or No Deal? Like, that's all these movies are, is just, hey, remember this, remember this, remember this, and there's nothing funny about it whatsoever. That is literally this movie. It's the crux of the parodies. The parody, in quotation marks, I have to keep reminding myself of that, is 300. But there's references to everything that was basically just popular within the last year. That's literally the entire movie. This is the definition of what is wrong with spoof movies in general. And the fact that this country made this movie the #1 movie at the box office. It's amazing. It is amazing how low we have stooped. We have done stupid things in this country, and we continue to do stupid things in this country, but this is definitely the absolute worst thing imaginable that we could have done, to make this movie a hit and allow these two idiots to keep making movies like this, because they kept making movies like this over and over again. And yeah, this is, what do I even need to say about this movie? This is garbage. This is absolute garbage. The jokes are not funny. Oh, I'm sorry. I say jokes, but they're not really jokes. They're just, like I said, references to stuff that happened in the last year. That's all these movies are. And the fact that this was a box office hit, the fact that this film beat out so many better movies, and this was the top film that came out that weekend, it's awe-inspiring. It is absolutely 100% awe-inspiring. And I think, but here's the thing. I think a lot of people saw this movie and saw how bad it is and realized, we probably should, we thought maybe this was going to be funny, but we realized how terrible this was, because the next movie these two guys would do came out in August of that same year. They tried to do the same thing again, and people were smart enough to stay the hell away from that movie. So maybe, just maybe this was maybe this is something where it's both a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because it was the top movie at the box office, but a blessing maybe from the people realizing that, yeah, this fucking sucks. I mean, to explain how bad this movie is, this thing is 83 minutes long. We just had a movie called Love Hurts that just came out recently. Which is a bad movie, unfortunately, but at least that had a reason to pad out the running time here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the studio forced them to cut that down so that they could do essentially a re-release down the road with Shout Factory and all that. But this movie, if you take the credits out, is only 60 minutes long. There's 23 minutes of credits and outtakes, if you will, because they knew they had nothing to work with. They padded the running time out. This movie is so goddamn lazy. Like, this is why I give movies like The Comebacks and Superhero Movie and like anything made by the Zucker Brothers a free pass around this time period, because you know what? They're at least trying to entertain you. They're at least trying to be funny, and sometimes they do work. But this, there's no excuse. This is a complete clusterfuck of a movie. This is easily the bottom of the barrel. One of the worst comedies you will ever see in your entire life. It is amazing that this isn't in my worst movies list, because honestly, this could have easily been right up there, because it's that bad of a movie. It's wasting all these people that could be doing something much better with their lives instead of making this garbage. And yeah, it's a complete waste of your time. It's a terrible movie. What more do you gotta say, man? Meet the Spartans. Absolute abysmal garbage.
When our world is threatened, when our lives are at risk, who can save us?
I am Iron Man.
For the guys who've seen way too many movies.
Hannah Montana's dead! Goodbye, my fans! Keep rocking! And don't forget to buy my 2 new CDs in stores now!
Comes the most incredible, most enchanting,
Where am I? What is this enchanting place?
most disastrous,
Hell no. I'm out of here.
comedy of the summer.
Hello, lover. And so I thought, could a simple New York City gal like me really beat up on a pregnant teenager?
I never back down.
Is that your feet?
And this is my baby's foot.
Disaster movie.
Taste it.
I mean, did you really expect anything from classy from Jason Freeberg and Aaron Seltzer at this point? Yeah, because this is absolutely horrible. This is one of the worst things you'll ever see. But again, should you really be that surprised? The film is mainly a parody of the disaster film genre, which it really is not. It's basically just it's like what Meet the Spartans. It's basically, hey, you know those movies that you saw over the last 9 months? Here we have a movie with everything on them. Like, you got everything from Cloverfield, Indiana Jones, 10,000 BC, the 2008 American Gladiator show, Amy Winehouse, Juno, Sex and the City, You Don't Mess with a Zohan, Kung Fu Panda, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, The Dark Knight. I mean, it's all these different things. Things that the filmmakers themselves even admitted they knew nothing about going into it. They started shooting this movie before the summer even began. They shot this just days before Iron Man opened. How do you put a script together like this? Well, simple thing is that you don't. They freely admitted that when they wrote this, they said that they didn't even write the script. They just watched trailer footage to get the basic idea of the film. And that's how they did it. That's how they made this film. And it tells you or not, when they start shooting this on April 28th of 2008. A trailer drops in mid-June 2008, and the film comes out in August. The thing did not even take 4 months to get together, and somehow they were able to convince Lionsgate and this company, Grosvenor Park, whatever that is, to give them $20 million to make this movie. And this is the end result you get. A terrible looking film that is nothing but, that claims it's a spoof film, but it's just references all across the board and not good ones whatsoever. Like, again, do I really need to say anything more about this movie and how bad it is? I mean, you could just look at that trailer alone and see, oh yeah, this looks absolutely horrible. This looks like a terrible, terrible movie. Yeah. That's pretty much all I can say about the film. And I guess people were smart enough to stay away from it, even though it still made its money back. It still made $34 million off a $20 million budget. But even then, it was still considered an underperforming movie, which, I mean, I don't know about that. You made $14 million more than you did on a movie that was not even a thing 5 months ago. So I guess there's something like that. But, hey, it underperformed enough for the studios to say, we don't want anything to do with you anymore. Because right after this movie came out, I think every studio out there basically said, yeah, we don't want anything to do with you anymore. Because after this movie in particular, and then following that up, they did one more film at Fox, and then after that, nobody gave a shit about them anymore. They went straight to DVD, where they have died and rotted forever. They're still alive, unfortunately, but yeah, it's been rotting away for so many years. They've been rotting away there, so at least we know that the end is near with these really bad spoof movies. Like, when it's so bad that even the star Kim Kardashian says she can't watch it because of how much she didn't like the movie. Kim Kardashian says she can't watch this. Think about that. So she made something that is so terrible that even she can't bother to be seen in it, to see herself in it. Like, that's how you know it's that bad of a movie. So yeah, what more can I say? Disaster movie is, no question, a disaster of a film. So
when I was a child in India, growing up in the tiny village of Heron Makister, I found a voiceover machine, which I still use to this day. Oh, hard.
I am His Holiness, the Guru Pitka.
On June 20th, the world's greatest authority on relationships is coming here.
So, Guru, enlighten us.
Fate is a joke. And as I once read on a wall in a truck stop bathroom, the joke is in your hands. Oh my God, I just got that.
He was an American raised in India.
Why do you want to join the Tagin Mai Puda ashram? So girls will like me. Then I will like myself.
Who has learned the ways of love.
If you follow my method, you'll get your wife back.
From Paramount Pictures and Spyglass Entertainment, you can doubt his methods.
Guru, please, what is your plan?
All right! You hurt me!
Okay. But you can't argue with his results.
Damn. Looks like he's smuggling a schnauzer.
Comedy.
I'm amazed that I thought that this was a good movie after I came out of it. No joke. What I said at the beginning there was 100% true. I did not come out of this movie hating it at first. It literally took me a day, and after I saw the movie, I was at the mall when Boskoff was there, and I was thinking about this movie again. I'm thinking to myself, why did I give this movie a decent review? Why did I like this movie? Why did I come out of this movie thinking I was liking it? Yeah, and you can see why from that trailer alone. But in the film, you have Mike Myers playing Pitka, a guru who is tasked with revitalizing the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team. The team have been plagued with losses, and their star player suffers a marital tragedy that throws him off his game. In order for Pitka to become the next Deepak Chopra, he must help them actualize their potential to win the Stanley Cup. That's the movie. That's what they think this is entertainment, and yeah, this movie is fucking awful. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you why this movie is bad, but let's go back to that trailer again, and you can just see from the trailer alone everything that's wrong with this movie. Like, the pointless comedy, the terrible comedy, the really bad CG on young Mike Myers there, the fact that Vern Troyer plays the coach of the hockey team, and his office is a literal miniature. Just like, why. I get it. Mini-Me is the hockey coach, but that does not mean you have to make the room miniature. I mean, Justin Timberlake is terrible in this movie. He's given bad comedy. Everybody's given bad comedy to do. Jessica Alba is the love interest. I mean, Jessica Alba, good lord, talk about a way to kill your career within a span of a few years. I mean, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Good Luck Chuck, Awake, The Eye, and now The Love Guru. And this isn't even the bottom of the barrel for her. We still have yet to get to Little Fockers in a couple of years, but, like, everything that you can think of that's wrong with this movie is wrong with this movie. Mike Myers can be very funny. He's proved it in the past. He's great as Wayne from Wayne's World. He's great as Shrek. He's great as Austin Powers. Here, it's like the Cat in the Hat, but worse. Everything you could say about this movie is just absolutely horrible. The whole idea of this movie is that this guy is supposed to be the ultimate love guru who knows about the art of love, but there's literally a scene where the guy he's trying to help is literally telling him, how can you be a love guru if you've never fallen in love before? And it's just like, exactly, that's a good point. Like, what are you even doing? Like, it would be like me saying, I'm the greatest film critic in the world. I don't care, nobody's ever said that to me about that, but I'm just giving it my own self-proclamation, because that's what he does with this. He self-proclaims himself to be the greatest guru in the role, and the whole thing is just like, I need to become the next Deepak Chopra. It's just like, dude, you've already surpassed Deepak Chopra in the way that you overhype your sessions. In the beginning of the movie, there's a whole section where you have all these different cameos from all these different actors in here: Jessica Simpson, Val Kilmer, Mariska Hargitay, who they use as a faux Hindu greeting. And usually, if that's a running gag, you save it towards the very end of the movie, and then she shows up. But no, she shows up within the first 20 minutes of this movie. This movie clearly does not give a fuck at all. I mean, and John Oliver's in this movie. John Oliver, man, like, the guy can be really hilarious. He's everything that we need right now in this world with Last Week Tonight, but good lord, man. You know how there's examples of many of the late night hosts we have now. They try to go to, they start their careers off after they leave their thing with movies and all that. Seth Meyers had that stretch before he went back to late night television. Jimmy Fallon had that for a couple of years. Jay Leno had that. There's a good reason why John Oliver's not making movies anymore, because of stuff like this and the Smurfs. And just don't even get me started on Ben Kingsley, man. I mean, talk about an embarrassment to his career. Everything that this guy has done since Gandhi, like, nothing pales in comparisons to this right here. This is the bottom of the barrel for Ben Kingsley. I mean, this is absolutely the worst possible thing that this dude has ever done in his career. He is literally acting like a fool. He's literally acting like a stupid idiot. He's acting like a jerk that really is... Like, why would anybody take what he says seriously? He is like, the dude pisses inside of something. I can't remember what it was, but it's just like, this is Gandhi. This is the guy that was in Gandhi, Bugsy, Schindler's List. This guy had a career before this, and, everything that he's done since then, this is the bottom of the barrel. This is the absolute worst thing he's ever done. This is the film that killed Mike Myers' comedy career at this point. I mean, Dana Carvey's probably looking at this and going like, hey man, thanks for doing this for me, man, because finally people can stop getting on my back about The Master of Disguise. The Master of Disguise is much better it's like Citizen Kane compared to this pile of garbage right here. I mean, have I gotten past the point where I don't need to say anymore? I'll say this. If you're even going to think about watching this movie again, the moment the movie really just comes to the screeching halt that it does is when, in the final scenes of the movie, where the Toronto Maple Leafs have somehow made the Stanley Cup, which, BS right there, because have you seen how bad the Toronto Maple Leafs are? Have you seen how cursed they are? I mean, this is a team that literally got beat once by a Zamboni driver that played for the other team when their other goalie was out, and he beat the Toronto Maple Leafs on his own. He works for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this movie says, no, we're that close to a Stanley Cup. Like, get out of here. But the point I'm trying to make here is that during the last bit of scenes in the hockey things, what's Peter's plan to save the day and get Romany Malco's confidence back up? Have two elephants banging in the middle of a hockey arena. That's it. Why is this working? They won't tell you. Why is this something that needs to happen? They're not going to tell you. They think it's funny, and no, it's not funny. It's the bottom of it's the bottom of the barrel. And the more and more I talk about this movie, it is amazing that this is not one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And it's not in my top 30, but this probably would be right next to it. I mean, 31 maybe 32, but yeah, this movie is awful. Everything about this movie is awful, and I could not believe I thought this was a good movie at one point, and just, I'm flabbergasted by it. I mean, this isn't as bad as me comparing Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector to The Naked Gun, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, I've got nothing else for you. I've got nothing else to say. This is absolutely one of the worst pieces of garbage you will ever see. This is the second worst movie I saw in 2008. I mean, it's that bad of a movie. It's one of the worst abominations I have ever seen in my entire life. Have I convinced you not to watch this movie? Even though it's been, 17 years now? You probably haven't watched this movie. Don't watch this movie. I'm begging you not to watch this movie. And I'm coming up on 8 minutes now, me telling you, don't watch this, because you will not last. You will go crazy just like I did in this whole thing right here. I hate this movie so much. So, yeah. I think you get the point. Love Guru is absolutely a waste of time, and there ain't nothing to love about it. And, yeah, Mike Myers, you should be ashamed of your goddamn self, man.
3 more days to get ready for a night out that will have you dancing in the aisle.
You're expecting us.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia is the most fun to be had at the movies this summer.
You sound like I'm fun already.
Oh, yeah.
There's not an audience anywhere that won't be smiling. This fun, don't miss out on all the fun of the summer's biggest party. Mamma Mia, with evil teens.
Yet another movie I've talked in great detail about how much I hate. Set on a colorful Greek island, the plot serves as the background for a wealth of ABBA songs. We have a young woman played by Amanda Seyfried who's about to get married, discovering that any of 3 men, Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, Stellan Skarsgård, could be her father. She invites all 3 of them to the wedding without telling her mother, played by Meryl Streep, who was once the lead singer of Donna and the Dynamos. In the meantime, Donna invites her backup singers, Rosie and Tanya, to the party. Rosie played by Christine Baranski, and I can't remember who played Tanya, but yeah, the movie is just really, really bad. I mean, just terrible, terrible renditions of these classic songs. I mean, these are just abysmally put together songs. It's a film that tries to be a love letter to ABBA's music library, but it ends up being one of the most annoying and the most obnoxious movies you have ever seen in your life. Nothing about it works. The music is bad, the acting is bad, the story is bad, the comedy is bad, the conflict is bad. It's an insulting film to not just ABBA fans, but to women in general, because it makes it seem inferior to who they really are. It fails on so many levels. And again, I've gone into much further detail about this movie too. If you want to go check that out, there's the link in the corner. So, not much more to say about this one.
The Spirit.
He's something the world needs.
I'm on my way. Rated PG-13. In theaters everywhere Christmas Day.
I mean, do I really need to say anything more than I didn't say already on the Reviewing Network Talks about not too long ago? I hate this movie so much, and yes, this was the first movie I ever walked out of in my entire life. I've been going to the movies on my own for 4 years up to this point. I've been going to the movies for 13 years up to that point too, but this movie, this stupid movie, like, this is a really dumb movie, and I guess I gotta run down the plot here for you, but down these mean streets a man must come, a hero born, murdered, and born again, when a rookie cop named Denny Cope, played by Gabriel Mott, returns from the beyond as the Spirit, a hero whose mission is to fight against the bad forces for the shadows of Central City. The Octopus, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who kills anyone unfortunate enough to see his face with his own other plans. who has other plans. He's going to wipe out the entire city. The spirit tracks the cold-hearted killer from the city's rundown warehouses to the damp catacombs to the windswept waterfront, all the while facing a bevy of beautiful women who either want to seduce, love, or kill the masked crusader. So basically, this is basically a swinger who's become a superhero, and that's really the main focus of the movie. Because yeah, every woman in this movie wants to bang this guy for no reason whatsoever. It's just like you're supposed to accept that. Like it's just like this movie is such a disaster. I mean, the moment I walked out was when they fried the cat with this stupid device that they use and this stupid disease that they use, and then they show the eyes going into the sink. It's just like I couldn't take it anymore. I literally left the theater and asked for a refund back, which is funny because I paid with a free movie ticket, and I at least got $7 back. So I made $7 leaving that movie early. But it's just like, I don't try to leave movies early. I try to stay with it for as long as I can. I've only walked out of 3 movies in my entire life. I've walked out of this one. I walked out of Aliens in the Attic, and I thought I remembered the third one, but I know I've walked out of 3 movies before in my life. This was just an awful, awful movie. This is a terrible film. I think Frank Miller has to be at the forefront of this. This is his baby. He's all over the this is his movie he wrote. He directed this. This is a PG-13 movie, which was dead on arrival to begin with. Why would you release this on Christmas Day of all weekends? Like, it's the only reason you do that is because you don't have any faith in it, and you just dump it out there because you could obviously have no faith in it whatsoever. What more can you say, man? This movie is awful. If you want to hear all my thoughts on that movie in a longer review, just go ahead and watch my review for it over on the Reviewing Network Talks About. It's my 4th worst movie I've ever seen in my life. The first movie I've ever walked out of in my life. That should tell you everything you need to know. The Spirit fucking sucks.
Hello?
Penny, I don't have much time.
Daddy? I don't understand.
It's okay, Penny. You have Bolt. I've altered him. He can protect you now.
Bolt, speak.
Get that dog!
Nice move.
Bolt! You'll never see Penny again! And cut.
He's the star of the biggest show in Hollywood.
She's still in danger.
The only problem is...
Hold on, Penny.
He thinks it's all real.
Don't let him out. He's never been off the set before. I'm coming, Penny.
Production of the hit television show Bolt shut down today when its star dog went missing.
Oh. You look familiar.
What? Yeah, he's real good with the faces and such.
I gotta remember, it's gonna kill me. Hold on. No, I don't know. I thought I knew. I need someone close to the green-eyed man. A cat.
Wow, it's a good knot. Were you in the Navy?
Well, I'll release you, cat, when we find Penny.
You must be so scared. Bolt's not scared of anything.
You're Bolt, the super dog! Where's Penny? She was kidnapped by the green-eyed man, but I've captured this cat.
You're crazy, man!
She's taking me to Penny.
I can be a valuable addition to your team.
The road will be rough.
I have a ball.
Easy will be part of the equation.
Promise.
Danger at every turn.
I eat danger for breakfast.
You hungry? Starving!
This November.
How do you say no way I'm doing this in crazy?
Let it begin!
One unlikely team.
Look, genius, you're not a super dog.
Is on a mission to get back home.
He could be anywhere by now.
This is awesome!
And the comedy event of the holiday season.
Bolt!
Bolt! Is about to be unleashed.
Super bar! Super bar! I need a fast set of wheels. I'll get my ball.
Bolt.
Let it begin! Let it begin!
Talk about a movie that a lot of people were not expecting to be as good as it ended up being. But man, this movie is essentially the Oliver and Company of this third Disney Renaissance, if you will, because, Meet the Robinsons kind of was the equivalent to, The Great Mouse Detective back in 86, and then the next movie, The Princess and the Frog, was the equivalent to Little Mermaid. Then Tangled essentially became Beauty and the Beast, and then so on and so forth. I mean, this literally is the third Disney Renaissance we're starting to get into here, and even though I didn't like Meet the Robinsons, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Once John Lasseter and his crew from Pixar came into Disney's animation studios, it led to this new creative direction that eventually led to a lot of really good movies from this era, and it's still continuing to this very day. Maybe not with every movie, but we'll delve into those as we go along here. But in terms of Bolt, this is a movie where you have John Travolta as a dog named Bolt, who spent his entire life on the set of a television series and firmly believes that he has superpowers. When his beloved owner Penny, played by Miley Cyrus, is kidnapped on the show, in quotation marks because this is all fake, Bolt runs away from the set to rescue her, eventually teaming up with a sarcastic alley cat named Mittens, played by Susie Essman, and a hamster named Rhino, played by Mark Walton, who is a fan of Bolt's television series, to embark on a cross-country journey back home. And the reason why this movie works so well is because it's just such a delightful, fun movie. It has the same enjoyment level of something like Oliver and Company. I mean, this is a film that really does feel like a nice slice-of-life movie where you have this character that... This is basically the Disney equivalent to The Truman Show, and it really could have gone down that route where it could have just easily just ripped off The Truman Show and just be done with it. But no, they took it an extra level. They brought a nice little homecoming, coming-of-age storyline here where you have this character played by John Travolta who has to deal with the fact that slowly but surely he has to realize that the world around him is not like the television show. It's like real life, and the film does a very good job of handling that, and it doesn't go down the same predictable routes that you think it does. I mean, there is not even a big misunderstanding, a misunderstanding at the end of the movie that luckily isn't focused on too much. I mean, it's gone within a couple of minutes overall, and of course there's even a little bit of a third act breakup, but again, not as bad as you would think it would be. It's something that's briefly touched on, and then immediately it's resolved pretty quickly. And nobody in here is double-crossing anybody. Miley Cyrus's character in this, I really like what she does in this movie, because I like the fact that her character isn't just another typical kid character where, she just gives up on finding the dog, finding Bolt after all this time he's been gone. No, she still very much wants to go and find him, but she can't because she has all these obligations, and this kind of dickheadish PR agent played very well by Greg Germain. In fact, a lot of the voice casting in here is really good too. I mean, James Lipton has a fun little role in here as the director. I mean, the guy who's of course been known for Inside the Actors Studio, he hasn't had a ton of acting roles where he's playing another character, but here I think he does it pretty well. It's a small role in here, but he plays it well to a T. I mean, you got Diedrich Bader and Nick Offerman having a fun role in here, playing the faux villainous cats of the main villain played by Malcolm McDowell. I mean, this is a really, really fun movie. It's a very fun film overall, and you just like the character so much. Bolt is such a fun, delightful character, and the way they animate him, it's hard to not get attached to a little dog like that. I mean, he is cute, but he's also kind of a fun little badass too. I like the way that he uses these powers, and he thinks he's using these powers in real life, but it's just the fact that just crazy circumstances happen. Like you see a little bit in the trailer there, the super bark is used with the help of a Rhino, and the way it's done in that animal shelter that they go to in the middle there, It's a film that does all the tropes that you would expect it to do, but it never goes the full way through. It's only little bits and pieces there, but it just works so well, and it knows it's not going to play dumb to its audience. This is a smartly made film. Kids can get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and adults can get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and it doesn't have to dumb down to its audience in any way, shape, or form. This is such a very good movie, a very well-made film. One of my favorite underrated Disney movies, a film that, especially with what they've done after this, like Tangled, Frozen, Princess and the Frog, this one kind of gets a little bit pushed off to the side, but it's still one of my favorite ones to watch. Anytime it's on TV on Freeform, I'm automatically watching it because I just love this movie so much. I love the relationship between Bolt and Penny. I love the characters in this movie. I think it's just such a good, fun movie, a well-made film. Can't recommend this one enough. Bolt is absolutely amazing. It's a must-watch film from Disney. Again, The Incredible Hulk, which was not a big hit when it came out. I mean, it did better than the original Hulk movie did in 2003, the Ang Lee one. So, and we're just coming off of Iron Man. I really can't imagine why this movie failed to find an audience, honestly.
Star, I hear you have an unusual problem. You should talk.
Maybe if I can control it, I can use it.
The Incredible Hulk.
The subway's probably quickest.
Me in a metal tube with hundreds of people in the most aggressive city in the world.
Right. Let's get a cab.
Oh, yeah. Basically, they just gave away the biggest post-credit sequence, the big post-credit sequence right there. Like, that was literally a commercial they had when this movie came out, where they literally put that Robert Downey Jr. cameo in the post-credit sequence in there to make you think that, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is a big part of the movie, and no, he really is not. It's just that cameo, and that's it. I mean, yeah, I get it. Iron Man came out 6 weeks ago. It was still making money at the box office, but at the same time, it's just like, why even throw that in there? I mean, the fact that it's a movie with the Incredible Hulk, that should be enough to sell the film on its own. But no, not with this movie. They had to do that, and part of me thinks that's part of the reason why the film didn't do so very well. Then again, this is also a film that had a lot of production problems in general. Edward Norton came on board, and he was basically rewriting the script on the set each day, and they kept changing various aspects of the movie, adding dialogue, additional scenes, similar elements to the TV show for the character development, and, you know, he would go uncredited as a screenwriter on here, and that eventually led to him not coming back after this, and of course then being replaced by Mark Ruffalo, which, I mean, honestly, yeah, it definitely worked out in the film's in the Hulk's best interest, because Mark Ruffalo's Hulk has turned out to be a pretty good character overall. But what about this movie here? Does the movie work as a whole? Well, let's talk about it. Depicting the events after the Gamma Bomb, The Incredible Hulk tells the story of Bruce Banner, played here by Edward Norton, who seeks a cure to his unique condition, which causes him to turn into a giant green monster under emotional stress. Whilst on the run from the military, which seeks his capture, Banner comes close to a cure, but all is lost when a new creature emerges, the Abomination, who's played by Tim Roth. And right off the bat, the movie helps to redeem the Hulk to his badassness. And I remember seeing this the first time and thinking, yeah, fuck that last Hulk movie. This is the Hulk we've been waiting for. With this movie, we get everything we want to see from a Hulk movie. You get a mix of the badass Hulk kicking ass and taking down the bad guys, while also throwing in a very good dramatic story that was actually necessary to tell the story. The problem with Ang Lee's Hulk film was that he went too art house with it. He wasn't the right guy to direct that movie. I mean, we're seeing a lot of those problems nowadays with a movie where, you know, you get a big blockbuster and then somebody comes in and says, "Hey, let's bring in this small independent filmmaker who just made a film that just got a lot of awards recognition. Let's bring him into this, and clearly he'll know what to do." That doesn't always work all the time, and Marvel has been notorious as of late for doing that with Eternals, and just recently with Captain America: Brave New World. One of the other examples is Twisters, where they brought in the director of Minari to direct that movie, and that film didn't turn out very well. This time around, they got a guy in Louis Leterrier who's directed more action movies. He did the Transporter movies, and you know, he's much more in line with how to make this work in general here. And I think this one manages to bridge the gap between the problems of the Ang Lee Hulk movie and just makes it stand out on its own because of the way they balance the action and the dramatic moments. You can have the emotional moments where the story takes over and you have characters talking about their problems, while you can also have the badass action sequences. And I think this film does a very good job of handling that. I think the casting overall is great. Edward Norton would have made a really good Bruce Banner overall if they had kept him around and he got what he wanted. I think Liv Tyler does a pretty good job as Betty Ross. William Hurt's really good as General Ross. I mean, this was a really good actor who played him. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And I mean, yeah, I liked Harrison Ford and what he brought to the table with Ross in the recent Captain America movie. And Sam Elliott was one of the few things about the original Hulk movie that I thought was actually working. And Tim Roth makes a pretty good Abomination in here. I think he's a lot of fun in here. The effects overall are very good. You got the final 26 minutes of this action sequences, which is one of the most epic action-packed climaxes you'll ever see. Every bit of it is action-packed. It has a lot of great effect shots. I mean, the scene where Hulk is just taking these 2 police cars and turning them into boxing gloves, I mean, that's easily the most memorable moment of the entire movie to me. That was a great moment right there. And like I said, it has a lot of good dramatic set pieces, too, such as the scene where Hulk is protecting Betty from the lightning in the woods. Like, that's a really good, effective scene, beautifully crafted, and the quieter moments of the film are very well done. It's a very good character story too about this guy who's trying to cure his problems here, and I think this film did a very good job of doing the best they could to bring the Hulk back to form following the disappointment of the Ang Lee film. There's a lot of good action, visuals, drama, comedy, and just all the things you need to make a good Hulk movie. And for the time, it was very good, and I think it still holds up very well to this day. But of course, the Avengers would eventually lead into Mark Ruffalo coming into play, and I think they've done a good job of establishing that character more. Making him balance, his anger issues and making him still talk like the Bruce Banner that we know when he's not the Hulk, I think was a smart move on their part. That was one of the things I really liked about Endgame, and he's one of the things I like about the She-Hulk series too. Even though I like the She-Hulk series much more than most people do, this is a really good movie, man. I still really enjoy this one a lot, and yeah. It didn't do the money that they thought that Iron Man was doing, but it was very hard to have that same Iron Man type of feel when the movie was literally coming 6 weeks after Iron Man came out. And I think that move to put Robert Downey Jr.'s post-credit sequence in the trailers was a last-minute ditched effort by Universal to try to save the film. I don't think it really did it in the end per se, but the movie we got was pretty damn good regardless. I think it's a really well-made film. It's one I definitely highly recommend checking out. It's a really good movie. The Incredible Hulk. What more can you say, man? Really good movie. So,
Get ready to feel the thunder! Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, nowadays we look at Kung Fu Panda as one of DreamWorks' premier franchises, but believe it or not, it's hard to believe there was a time when people heard the idea of Kung Fu Panda starring Jack Black and thought, yeah, this is gonna suck. And believe it or not, that was something that happened back in the day, because Jack Black wasn't the reliable draw that he is nowadays. And DreamWorks, they were still Disney's biggest competitor in terms of the CG animated movies, but everyone looked at the trailers for this and thought it was not going to be that great overall, and then the movie came out, and then it just took everybody completely by surprise by what they saw from it. And it's really hard not to see why, because it is such a good movie. It's set in the version of ancient China populated by anthropomorphic animals, centering on a bumbling giant panda named Po, voiced by Jack Black, who's a kung fu enthusiast living in the Valley of Peace. And when the savage snow leopard Tai Lung, played by Ian McShane, is foretold to escape imprisonment and attack the valley, Po is unwittingly named the Dragon Warrior, a prophesized hero worthy of reading a scroll that has been intended to grant its reader limitless power. And really, the lessons of this movie can really apply to the film's success in general here. Like I said before, everyone looked at this and thought that this was not going to play very well. And, of course, in the movie, Jack Black is at first thought to be, accidentally chosen by, what's his name? Master Oogway. He's chosen by Master Oogway. At first, everyone thinks it's an accident, but, he says there are no accidents. And slowly but surely, as the film progresses, and we learn more about how this really wasn't more of an accident, and how Po was pretty much basically determined to be the Dragon Warrior with everything that he's able to do. Like, there are a lot of good lessons being taught in this movie too. Like, don't judge a book by its cover, and this is literally the definition of it. Don't judge a book by its cover. I like the ideas of the movie's main characters being like the different forms of kung fu. Like you have your mantis, you have your tiger, you have your viper, crane, monkey, all that type of stuff. All voiced by really good actors: Angelina Jolie, Seth Rogen, Lucy Liu, David Cross, Jackie Chan. James Hong playing Poe's adopted father is very well done. Even it's really great to see that, you don't really question how this person is Poe's father, but of course the later movies will later explain it. But for a film like this, this really does a good job of building this world up and getting you prepared for what would eventually is for the future stories that it will eventually tell. I mean, it's basically a one-story film, but it leaves the door open for what they could do with the films going forward. And of course, they would take advantage of that, because this is really one of DreamWorks' best series overall. The Kung Fu Panda series has been great. Of course, the second one's one of my favorite DreamWorks movies of all time. But this is a really good movie, and it really works because of a lot of elements. The comedy is really funny. Jack Black just fits this role so well. The action sequences are a ton of fun to watch. The animation is incredible to look at. I mean, like I said, it gets better as the series goes on, but there's a lot of things to admire about the movie. Ian McShane is very menacing as a villain. You do get with his backstory overall. Like, he was supposed to be the Dragon Warrior, but then, this evil power started getting in within him when, the Master Oogway wouldn't give him the opportunity to do that. And I like the fact that they take these opportunities with the storyline here to build up arcs with these characters within. Like, I love how everybody's kind of like, pushed off to the side about Poe at first, but as they go along and they start to realize that he's more and more capable of doing what he's doing, that they're more behind him. And especially that's something that happens as the series goes on. And it's a really well-made film. It's a very entertaining film that really delivers on everything you asked for. Like I said, the comedy is great, the animation works, the voice acting is top-notch, the action sequences are a ton of fun overall. There's really nothing more I can say about this film that hasn't already been said already. It's a really good movie. It's definitely a very entertaining film. It's well worth it. Kung Fu Panda, the first one, really enjoyable film. I really like it a lot. It still holds up after all these years. So that's Kung Fu Panda.
Mr. Stark, you've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
What do you say to your other nickname, the Merchant of Death?
That's not bad.
They say the best weapon is one you never have to fire. I prefer the weapon you only need to fire once. That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far. To peace.
Is it cool if I take a picture with you?
Yes, it's very cool. I don't want to see this on your MySpace page. Please, no gang signs. No, throw it up. I'm kidding.
You have till tomorrow to assemble my missile.
I should be dead already. Unless it was for a reason. I just finally know what I have to do. That doesn't look like a missile. What are you building, Stark? I'm working on something big.
That film is, of course, Iron Man. Iron Man, of course, was the feature film that essentially kicked off a certain universe that I'll delve more into at the end of this thing. But let's talk about the movie itself, because they don't really... This movie doesn't really... The focal point of the universe that this starts off doesn't happen until the very end here. So I'll save that for the end. But in a contemporized version of the origin story of Iron Man, you have Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., who's attacked and critically wounded in an ambush in Afghanistan and is imprisoned in a cave by the terrorist group the Ten Rings, who want Tony to build a copy of Stark's company's latest project, the Jericho missile. A fellow Captain Yinsen, played by Sean Taub, creates a device that keeps Tony alive, and they're forced to build the missile. Yinsen helps Stark escape the group from using an arc reactor to turn Stark into an armored superhero to break out of the cave, and is rescued by his buddy James Rhodes, played in this movie by Terrence Howard, and is brought back to America where Secretary Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, and the company's manager Obadiah Stane, played by Jeff Bridges, is waiting. Seeing how his company's weapons are being used for evil, Stark makes the controversial decision for his company to not make any more weapons. After this happens, he uses his expertise to expand on the suit of armor that got him out of the cave to become the superhero Iron Man. When he realizes that Stane has been sending the company's weapons to the same terrorist group that imprisoned him, and they plan on using them on Yinsen's village. Stark also realizes that Obadiah Stane may be more of a threat than he believes. But, you can kind of expect that when you look at Jeff Bridges in this movie. It's just like, yeah, this guy clearly isn't going to turn into a bad guy. Get out of here with that. This is directed by Jon Favreau, who at that point was starting to become more of a prolific director. He had made films like Maid. He broke out with Elf, which was a massive hit for him. Zathura was a film that was not received the best financially, but it was still a pretty good movie overall. But he never had tackled a big project at this point like Iron Man. So, of course, there was a lot of skepticism to see if Favreau could make the jump to a bigger project like this. And also, this is a film that's relying heavily on Robert Downey Jr., who wasn't really the big box office draw that he was back in the day at this point, or what he eventually will become now. I mean, he was in that comeback stage of his career where, like, he had those years where, of course, he was dealing with all the personal issues and all that. And then as the 2000s got going, started with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and then continuing on after that, his career started to rebound a little bit here. So he was still not the reliable draw that I think he is nowadays, but he was surrounded by all this talent across the board here. And I think a movie like Batman Begins proved that, you put in a relative unknown in a big role like this, and you fill him around here with a bunch of awards caliber actors. I mean, Batman Begins had Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman, Liam Neeson, Tom Wilkinson, Katie Holmes, like a lot of recognizable talent all around him. Like, you can make a movie work, especially if you have a good movie to work with here. And this was bold also for Marvel, because this was the first movie they self-financed on their own. Paramount was only the distributor on the movie, so there was a lot of pressure on them for this movie to deliver on those merits alone, but much more, as we'll delve into in just a little bit here. But regardless of that, it all paid off in the end, because, yeah, this is still one of the best superhero movies ever made. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is perfectly cast as Tony Stark. He is such a good Tony Stark in this movie. He brings that character to life because he's living through a lot of what Tony Stark goes through in this movie, and he can easily relate to this character because he falls into the same characteristics as Stark did, and that's more touched on in Iron Man 2, which I don't think it's as good as this one here, but I gotta give it credit for doing that at least. But we'll delve more into that when we get to 2010. But the rest of the cast is very good. Terrence Howard's pretty good as Rhodes, and it really would have been interesting to see what would have happened if Rhodey had continued to be played by Howard. But Howard, of course, I think there was contract disputes going on that caused Iron Man 2 to go with Don Cheadle, and that decision has worked out pretty well for that movie. But still would have been interesting to see what Terrence Howard could have brought to the role of Rhodes had he continued on playing that role. Gwyneth Paltrow's really good as Pepper Potts. She isn't the typical damsel in distress that you would think a movie like this would have. And she does actually help Tony stay ahead of his enemies. And that's really something that I really appreciated about this movie, was that she wasn't written as a stock damsel in distress character. She contributes to the movie in general, and she contributes to the story. Jeff Bridges, I think, is great as Obadiah Stane. I mean, he really is a very fun villain in this movie. And yeah, like I said, he's an obvious villain, but at times he is really fun. He has some of the most memorable lines in the movie, like that. I love this. My favorite line of his is when he's talking to Ralphie from A Christmas Story, who's a scientist, and he's got that book. It's literally Peter Billingsley, because of course this is a Jon Favreau production, and Favreau, Vaughn, and Billingsley all work with each other on several projects. And my favorite line from him is when he's screaming at the top of his lungs, "Tony Stark built this thing in a cave with a box of scraps," and the scientist is just like, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm not Tony Stark. Stark. And Jeff Bridges is just like, of course you're not. And like, I know I completely botched that line, but you get the idea. That the way it's read by Bridges. I mean, Jeff Bridges is a great actor, but people forget that Peter Billingsley can act his ass off too. I mean, this is a kid that's not just Ralphie. He's done a lot of other movies besides Christmas Story and all that. But the writers do a good job of contemporizing the origin of Iron Man without taking it over the edge and changing the origin story with unnecessary things like some other origin films tend to do, as well as coming up with that great mix of action and comedy. The action sequences are so well done, and the film has a lot of those really good one-liners scattered across the film that just makes it so work as well as it can, and the visual effects are amazing to look at. This is actually one of the last things Stan Winston did before he passed away. He worked on the metal suits, he worked on the rubber that was used in the film, and helped to work on the Iron Man costume with this mix of CG, and his company did a pretty good job of handling that, as well as a lot of the other visual effects held into the film. The action is so well done. The final climax of the movie, I think, is very well done. There is a lot of tension. There's a lot of things that make it work. It feels very realistic. Like, something like this could actually happen in real life. And that's one of the things I really was impressed by this whole thing. But, nevertheless, we got to talk about the biggest thing that this movie was setting up for. I mean, when most people went to go see this movie, they were not expecting it to be anything more than just another typical superhero movie. It's like, okay, we've seen this done before time and time again. They're going to go ahead, and of course we're going to get some kind of no, actually, no. I think this was actually one of the first real superhero movies that actually did the post-credit sequence with actually building something for something. Because we've seen post-credit sequences in other superhero movies and other movies. You know, Masters of the Universe, Buckaroo Banzai, a couple of X-Men movies had mid-credit sequences that really didn't amount to anything. But what they set up here at the end of Iron Man is still something that was nowadays we look at it, it's just like, okay, they had a good idea what they were doing, but when they set this up back in May of 2008, you have no idea how much pressure there was to deliver on what they were asking for with this post-credit scene.
Jarvis, welcome home, son. I am Iron Man. You think you're the only superhero in the world? Mr. Stark, you've become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Who the hell are you? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
8 words. I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. 8 words that we thought at the time was cute. Okay, very ambitious of you to think that this is going to be something that you're going to actually do. Because they've been talking about doing these other movies for a while now, setting up all these different movies to set up into this one big epic adventure that they were going to put together. And even back when this summer happened, there was a lot of skepticism that they were actually going to do it. But the plan was to simply do this. Iron Man was supposed to be the first film of this new universe, and then we were supposed to get the Hulk, the new Incredible Hulk, which comes out later in the summer, and then it was going to be Thor. Then it was going to be Iron Man 2. No, it was Iron Man 2 next, and it was going to be Thor in 2010. Then 2000, I think it was, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was Thor in 2009, Captain America in 2010, and then it was all going to lead up to the Avengers in 2011. Of course, Iron Man became the successful film, and so they added a sequel to that, and so they moved around the dates around. But the Incredible Hulk not underperforming, everyone thought that it was going to put a damper on what they were going to do with this, but what really changed the whole thing was when Disney came in and bought Marvel. I think when Disney bought Marvel the following summer, it essentially said that, oh yeah, they're doing this. And sure enough, what followed over the next 4 years was a ride of very good movies all across the board. I mean, this movie's great. The Incredible Hulk's a great movie. Iron Man 2, not as good as the first one, but still pretty good. Thor, probably the weakest of the bunch, and Captain America, which is one of those ones I like to watch all the time. And then, of course, that led into the Avengers, which the Avengers became, and the Avengers, of course, became the movie that everyone thought wasn't going to happen, and then all of a sudden it did, and it turned out to be one of the great cinematic experiences that you will ever have. And the rest is history. I mean, they spent the rest of that decade of the 2010s at Marvel, like, becoming the star, the big focal movie of the year for the next 10 years, up until the COVID year. I mean, everyone was always building up, like, what was going to happen next, because they were really delivering, and there were more hits than misses in the MCU before COVID. Nowadays, it's more more misses than hits, but you know, it is what it is, and I think there's a lot of problems with the MCU in general, which we'll delve into as we go along on this journey here. But yeah, it's crazy to think that this movie, this one little sequence that they did, a lot of people didn't think they were going to do anything with it at first, but then, of course, all of a sudden, when you get somebody like Kevin Feige, and you get a major company like Disney, who's willing to spend billions of dollars to accomplish whatever you want to do, because they really do believe in what you're trying to do. I mean, that tells you what they were, is that they were really believing that this was going to work, and hopefully it was going to pay off in something big. And sure enough, it eventually did. We got a lot of great movies out of the MCU since this launched, and yeah, you can't say that this was a failure by any means necessary. It was an experiment that worked and did very, very well. And naturally, when Disney purchased Marvel for $4 billion, I think it's definitely paid off with it, because many of the movies that they made have made that back and then some. It was one of the smartest moves Disney could have made at that point. But going back to Iron Man, because I've spent a lot of time talking about this, Iron Man really is one of the best superhero movies ever made because of its great cast, a great contemporized origin story, great visuals, great action, just overall fun. It's a fun, solid movie-going experience, and it's the movie that not only helped to relaunch Robert Downey Jr.'s career and put him back into superstardom in a year where he just had a great, great year, because he would have another movie coming out this summer that was just as good, if not just as good as this. But it puts the Marvel Cinematic Universe on the fast track. I mean, this was the movie that did it, and nobody was really expecting it to, but lo and behold, look at what happened. So yeah, that's Iron Man.
Hollywood's biggest stars were kidnapped.
Guys, anybody got some bug spray?
They'll have to stop Davis.
Got an award.
Hey, let's...
Shut up now!
Okay, let's start fighting back. This might not make it there.
Like, not on the same flight?
Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr. Hottie.
Why are you still in character?
Man, I don't drop character till I've done the DVD commentary. Tropic Thunder.
I mean, just what a great movie this is, man. Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., Jay Baruchel, and Brendan T. Jackson star as a group of prima donna actors making a Vietnam War film, and when their frustrated director decides to drop them in the middle of a jungle and dies in an accident, they're forced to rely on their acting skills to survive the real action and danger. And of course, this parodies a lot of war films, you know, the Hollywood studio system, method acting. You have a cast that includes some top names in here: Nick Nolte, Danny McBride, Matthew McConaughey, Bill Hader, Tom Cruise. I mean, this is a great movie, man. This is a film that just right from the get-go, just really, like, right from the get-go, it's just like, okay, you're in on the ride, because they show these impressively funny fake trailers from all the actors in the movie. Like, you have Robert Downey Jr.'s character as this Australian actor who, you know, he has this film with Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire back then. Jack Black's in an Eddie Murphy comedy. Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy type comedy, like The Nutty Professor. Ben Stiller is in a movie where, you know, he's like an action hero. And then you got the young guys in here: Jay Baruchel, Brendan T. Jackson. Brendan T. Jackson, this was actually his first film that he was in, and I remember seeing him in. I think a lot of people saw him in this, but of course, Ben Stiller is also an actor who's trying to branch out into other things. Like, one of his more notable misfires was Simple Jack, which is basically a movie that's making fun of, like, you know, the Forrest Gump formula, the Nell formula, that type of stuff. I mean, they even have a line in the movie where it's like, you don't go full retard, and that's exactly what he did in that movie. And this movie really is something that just, thank God they got it out when it did, because they could have never made this movie today. I mean, this is kind of like Blazing Saddles in a way. Like, there's stuff in here that really could not be done in today's world. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is literally in blackface for the majority of the movie, and he's great in it. I mean, this is a performance that was so good. He got nominated for an Academy Award for this, and the Oscars don't usually nominate comedies anymore, especially around this time, but the fact that they saw this and said, oh, we'd be crazy not to give an Oscar nomination for it. I mean, unfortunately, it was competing in the same year Heath Ledger was in there, so yeah, chances of winning that are slim to none. But the fact that they acknowledge this as one of the 5 best supporting performances of the year, man, it's just, I mean, it's just incredible what this movie was able to accomplish. And yeah, this is something that I really think could not be made in today's world. This is one of those last great comedies before everybody just decided that, you know, if you try to be crazy or go dark, it's just, you're gonna get called out for it. I mean, mean, the jokes about Simple Jack and everything, like the bad guys in here, their favorite movie is Simple Jack, and there's even a part where Ben Stiller has to reenact the movie in general, and it's bad. It's just a bad performance with the bad teeth and all that stuff, and it's so funny. This whole movie is so goddamn funny, and the performance that really kind of gets overshadowed in this is Tom Cruise, who plays the head of the studio, Les Grossman, and nobody knew that he was in this movie until they saw the film, and it's just like, that guy kind of looks familiar, because it's him in all this makeup and all that stuff, and it's just like, that's not Tom Cruise, and at the end of it, it's just like, holy crap, that is. I mean, like, that's an incredible, incredible performance by Tom Cruise that sadly gets overlooked when you look at this movie. But it's really, really fun to see him just go all out with this, and it's fun to see him make fun of himself. I mean, this was around that time when he was kind of seen as the crazy person. I mean, he wasn't seen as the rebirthing star that he is now with stuff like Top Gun Maverick and the Mission Impossible movies. I mean, this was kind of at a point in his career where, you know, he was coming off of the whole thing with United Artists buying that studio, and doing something like this, showing that he's allowing himself to be funny like this. I mean, it's very, very good stuff. Matthew McConaughey, I mean, this is a great movie for him, coming off of the really bad films he'd been attached to. I mean, this shows that, hey, this guy's got a lot of talent to him. And I mean, the concept overall is just hilarious. I mean, this was the perfect movie to end a really good summer on, because yeah, this was a film that was just so well put together, so hilariously done. Ben Stiller does a fantastic job writing this, directing this, starring in it. Everybody does a great job in this movie. I mean, what more can you say that hasn't already been said already? Tropic Thunder is absolutely incredible. It's one of the best comedies I've ever seen. Just a funny, funny movie. Tropic Thunder is amazing. If you have not seen it yet, do yourself a favor and see it, because you are missing out on a truly, truly great film. Tropic Thunder is a must-see film, no question about it.
Millionaire is the winner of the Best Picture of the Year, and now nominated for 4 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Director Danny Boyle and Best Picture of the Year. Critics all across the country give Slumdog Millionaire 4 stars. But 4 stars simply aren't enough for this masterpiece that's a tale of unswerving love and will send you out of the theater feeling like a winner. Slumdog Millionaire, rated R, now playing in select theaters.
Quite literally the sleeper that really came out of nowhere, especially considering, you know, this was up for the Academy Award for Best Picture, and, you know, in a year where probably, if The Dark Knight and Wall-E had been nominated in there, chances are those films probably would have won Best Picture over this, but that does not take away from the movie itself, because it is a really good movie, where you have the story here of this young kid, Jamal Malik, played by Dev Patel in his film debut, and, you know, he goes on to this game, this equivalent to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I mean, it is literally the same company who produces the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game show that made this movie. And he surprises everybody on the show by answering every question correctly so far, winning upwards to about, I don't know what the currency, I don't know how to pronounce the currency in India, but it's basically the equivalent of $210,000. And he's one question away from winning the grand prize of $420,000 in the U.S., but he's accused of cheating, and he recounts his life story to the police, illustrating how he was able to answer each question. And the film goes through flashbacks of how he got to this point, from his days as a 5-year-old kid all the way to getting on the show, and also trying to win the heart of his girl in this movie, played by Frida Pinto, who's really fantastic in the movie. I mean, these two are so good in this film. This is such a wonderful, wonderful movie, and it just shows the range of Danny Boyle as a director. I mean, Danny Boyle, we talked about his works in the past. This is his magnum opus, man. This is definitely one of my favorite movies of his. It's such a very entertaining movie. It's an engaging love story. You do want to see Patel and Pinto get together at the end. You want to go on this journey with this guy. It reminds me a lot of The Last Emperor. Maybe that's why I got so invested in seeing The Last Emperor so much, because I saw a lot of similar vibes to Slumdog Millionaire and The Last Samurai. The Last Emperor, excuse me. I'm sorry. I said The Last Samurai. Good Lord. The Last Emperor, the Bernardo Bertolucci movie that won Best Picture in '87. That's the one I want to compare this to, not the Tom Cruise one, no. Slumdog Millionaire kind of made me want to see The Last Emperor, because of just how both of these films felt very similar to one another. And these are two radically different movies. I think that The Last Emperor is an epic film that is using all the abilities of the camera works, of the abilities that they were able to use in filmmaking in '87 to make this grand, epic masterpiece of a film. And in this movie, they're using what they can, having it take place in India and all that, and they're doing a lot what they can do with it here, and they're great character studies. They're great aspiring journeys with this young kid from when he's a little boy to where he is at this movie, and you do root for him on. Like, you do root for him to go on this adventure and get the victory after everything he's gone through. There are parts of this movie that are very hard to watch, but it's one of those movies where it's worth it to get to that big moment at the end where everything just works out in the well for him. And this is a really good movie. This is a fantastic, fantastic film. The music by A.R. Rahman is perfect. It's so well done. The song Jai Ho is so well done. Not just in this movie, but the Pussycat Dolls literally did a song version of this. And surprisingly, it's pretty damn good, too. I mean, just, it's hard not to get attached to this movie, man. This is just such a wonderful, wonderful movie. And, it was... I don't want to say it was the best of the 5 nominated Best Pictures because Benjamin Button was in there, and we'll get to that one when we get to Christmas time, but it was really a 2-horse race for me that year between Benjamin Button and this movie, and if either one of these had won, I would have been more than happy with that, and I'm glad this won because, yeah, it's a film that rightfully deserved to win. I think it's a very enjoyable film. It's a wonderfully put together movie, great acting, great storytelling. I mean, it's such a masterpiece of a movie, man. One of Danny Boyle's best films. Slumdog Millionaire, such a terrific, terrific film. Can't recommend this one enough. Definitely check it out.
Never know what's coming for you.
My name is Benjamin Button.
What in God's name?
I was born under unusual circumstances.
Infirmity's not of a newborn, but of a man well in his 80s on his way to the grave.
He's dying?
Old age.
Oh, God in heaven. He looks just like my ex-husband.
I didn't know I was a child. I thought I was an old man in the twilight of his life.
How old are you?
7, but I look a lot older.
He's 7.
You are a different child. People aren't gonna understand just how different you are.
Benjamin, you are looking strikingly youthful.
And one afternoon, I met the person who changed my life forever.
Are you sick?
They said I was gonna die soon, but maybe not.
You're odd.
What if I told you that I wasn't getting older? I was getting younger than everybody else. Daisy? It's me, Benjamin.
Oh my God. We always said you were different. I think you really are. Everybody feels different about themselves one way or another. We all going the same way. Just taking different roads to get there, that's all.
I want to remember us just as we are now.
You're on your own road, Benjamin. What's it like growing younger?
I can't really say. I'm always looking out my own eyes. Our lives are defined by opportunities.
We're not little children anymore, Benjamin.
Even the ones we miss. I was thinking how nothing lasts. What a shame that is.
Some things last.
I absolutely love this movie. This is very high up there with one of my favorite movies of the year. This stars Brad Pitt, who plays Benjamin Button, a person who was born not as a child, but as an old man. And from that point, he begins to age backwards, going from old to young. And the whole story of his life is being told from his journal, being read in 2005 by his daughter, played by Julia Ormond, in this hospital that is taking place, I believe, during Hurricane Katrina. And his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Daisy, played by Cate Blanchett, in a role that should have gotten her the Academy Award that year. But, throughout the movie, we meet all these other characters, from a sea captain that offers Benjamin a job to an older woman who has an affair with Benjamin, played by Tilda Swinton. And also, you have Taraji P. Henson, who also got a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for this, a well-deserved Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination. And also, Brad Pitt was nominated, Best Director, David Fincher, Best Picture, This really should have been the winner, the winner of the Oscars that year. I mean, I like Slumdog Millionaire. I really do like that film a lot, but this movie should have gotten something out of it, man. Actually, no, it did. It won 3 Oscars for art direction, makeup, and visual effects, which, again, not hard to see why, because, yeah, this really is a great movie. This is a film that is so well done. David Fincher, his direction, I think, works very well here. It's actually one of the weaker parts of the movie in general, but even then, it's more of a nitpicky thing, per se, because it's David Fincher doing what David Fincher does so well. A great script by Eric Roth and Robin Secord, a cast that includes a lot of great talent, great makeup all across the board. I mean, it's a very good movie, and the thing is that the movie goes all the way with it. I think the movie pulling off pulling out the biggest punch at the end by, kind of like with Marley and Me, it has kind of a downer ending where that, Benjamin Button's dies a baby, and yeah, they actually go through with it, and it's surprisingly really well done. It's a perfect send off to the storyline, and it's a very rough scene to watch, but it fits with the mode of what they're trying to accomplish here, and the film itself just works all across the board. It's a very good movie. It's one of David Fincher's best movies. It's one of Brad Pitt's best movies in general. It's a terrific film. I can't recommend this one enough. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Girlfriend dumped you. Stop crying.
When the worst has already happened.
Everywhere I look, I'm reminded of her.
Go on a vacation. Go to Hawaii. What's the worst that could happen?
Peter, what are you doing here?
From the guys who brought you the 40-year-old virgin.
Did you see her boyfriend? He is ridiculous.
And knocked up.
I'd like to grab some dinner, please. Is your girlfriend joining you?
No.
You just by yourself?
Yeah. We've got a loner?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, just clear the other stuff off. It's one man.
Rated R.
So Forgetting Sarah Marshall tells the story of Peter Bretter, played by Jason Segel, who's a music composer for a TV show that features his girlfriend, Sarah Marshall, played by Kristen Bell, in the leading role. After a 5-year relationship, she breaks up with Peter. Devastated by this event, he chooses to go to vacation in Hawaii in order to try to move forward with his life. The trouble is, he runs into Sarah on the island, and she is on vacation with her latest boyfriend, played by Russell Brand. I think this was where everyone thought that saw Russell Brand for the first time, and thought that he was going to have a good future in film. I mean, it was a good 5-year run while it lasted, but then they shipped him off back to England, and now I have really no idea what he's up to nowadays. I think he's become one of those right-wing actors per se, but I don't know about that. But on this island, you also have other characters played by Paul Rudd. Mila Kunis plays this new love interest for Segel, and Jonah Hill is also in there as well. This is directed by Nicholas Stoller. This was actually his first film as a director, even though he had written other works beforehand. Like, he had done a lot of other movies and TV shows, and of course he would later go on to direct several other comedies. Some pretty good ones overall. Like the Neighbors movies, Storks. He did a really good underrated one that came out a couple of years ago with Billy Eichner Brothers, or Bros, you would say. But yeah, this is without a doubt his best movie to date. I mean, this is still one of those great comedies that I was skeptical when it came out. I remember, Richard Roeper, back when even Roeper was still on the air, they were talking about how, this is one of the greatest comedies ever made, and I was really, really looking at it and going like, okay, you're throwing a lot of high praise on this movie, only for me to be let down by it. I mean, I was let down by Drobert Taylor not but a few weeks prior to that, and that had Judd Apatow's name on it. So I was going into this with slightly lower expectations, and that works because, yeah, this movie is pretty friggin' amazing. It's Jason Segel, it's Jason Segel proving that he can be a great leading actor, and he works really well in here. He's a great funny comedian. He's a great comic actor, not really a comedian, but of course he showed that with what he did with How I Met Your Mother, those years as Marshall Erickson. He's great on that show, and he's got good chemistry with both Bell and Mila Kunis. He has this really good, charismatic charm to him that works very well. And it's a very creative movie, too. Like, this is a film where you're not only watching him because he's such a good leading actor, but the guy has a lot of talent, man. He's a great music. You see it here. He's good at making music. He's good at and he's good with puppeteering work. There's a great subplot with him where his true passion is that he wants to write a Dracula puppet comedy rock opera, and of course at the end of the movie when he has that situation where he's got to choose where life is going to take him, he gets to do it, and it really does show why he was so the right choice to do that Muppet movie that came out a couple of years later, which I still think is a fantastic movie. Mine is the post-credits ending, but we'll save that for another day. But I love this movie, man. It's a classic movie. It shows a lot of great comic potential from all the stars involved here. Even people that you wouldn't expect. Like, Kristen Bell had been on Veronica Mars up to this point, but nobody really knew if she could transition to more comedic roles in general. Mila Kunis had been on that 70s show and Family Guy, so everyone kind of expected that. And Russell Brand was very charismatic and very fun in here. He's an obnoxious boyfriend, but he's not at the point where he's completely annoying rather than what he would later become on down the road. Like, you really do get behind him, and you really do feel like, yeah, he is a likable person, and a damn good singer, too. I mean, he has a good song in the movie where, you know, it's hard not to realize the true potential of this guy as an actor as a whole. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out as well 10 years later, but, or even now, almost 20 years later, but Forgetting Sarah Marshall is a classic movie, definitely one of the best Judd Apatow-produced movies, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Yeah, I could see why people were loving it at the time, and yeah, it lived up to every bit of the hype and then some. It's a great comedy. I can't recommend it enough. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, definitely check it out. As you see, I had to cut the trailer down because that trailer uses the music from Brazil, of course. And you know, as much as I want to use, even though that was my introduction to that music in particular, I'm not risking copyright claims. But who knows? I'm still probably going to get it anyway. But you get the gist of the idea from the trailer if you've seen it in full. You've got a story about a solitary robot named Wall-E who's on a future uninhabited, deserted Earth in 2805. Making it too hard on myself. In 2805, left to clean up the garbage left on the planet. He is visited by this robot called Eve, sent from the spaceship Axiom, whom he falls in love and pursues across the galaxy until they make it to the Axiom, and that's where their next adventure begins. And I pretty much have covered this movie already in my favorite movies of all time, because this is one of my favorite films of all time. It's my favorite Pixar film. It's a movie that I just love to death, man. I think this is just such an incredible, incredible movie, from the visuals to the story, to the wonderful characters. The fact that the first half of this movie is literally just watching these two robots is working together and really not really talking at all. There's very little dialogue in the first half of this movie, and it's so refreshing to see and be heard, and like, it's very well done on so many levels. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. Even when it gets to the second half of the film and you have all the other characters that are being introduced, like the captain of the ship played by Jeff Garlin, you've got the two human characters you follow, John Ratzenberger and Kathleen the Jimmy. Even though they're kind of unnecessary to the storyline, they're not bad to the point where, you know, they feel like they're kind of forced in there. No, they're serviceably put in there, and they do serve as a little side plot to the main storyline here. But the main focus is on Wall-E and Eve. You know, Wall-E has never had to deal with another person before, another thing before, and he falls in love with Eve. And you buy their chemistry, you buy their relationships, and there's a lot of great scenes in here where the animation really does take control of it all. You'll never forget the scene where they're just dancing in the stars, and it's just like, I mean, there's just so much I've talked about with this movie before. It's really one of the great animated achievements of all time. We're getting to that point where, you know, the Academy Awards, you know, at this point they had only nominated one film for Best Animated Feature, and that was Beauty and the Beast, which, in my opinion, should have won. I like that movie way better than Silence of the Lambs. But, you know, this was one of those movies where everyone was saying, this should have been a shoo-in for Best Picture. This should have been a Best Picture nominee. And just like that, and another movie that we'll eventually get to, it was not put in there because the Academy just didn't want to acknowledge movies that were against what they usually nominate. They went with the Oscar bait movies. Some of them were good, but most of them were not as good as stuff like Wall-E and another movie that we're going to get to here. And it basically forced the Academy Awards to expand the Best Picture thing, so people would stop getting pissed off about them doing it. But even then, they weren't really using the 10 Best Picture nominations until just this past just the last 4 years, honestly. Even more than that, maybe like probably 2022. I think 2022 was the first time they used 10 full Best Picture nominees, which, I mean, you've had it sitting there for 13 years, and you never bothered to use it until now. I mean, but regardless, this is a film that should have been a Best Picture nominee, honestly. This should have been one of the 5 Best Picture nominees, along with this and another film that we're going to get to in a little bit, but this definitely should have been in that category. This is that good of a film. I've talked about this movie to death so many times before. If you want to hear what I had to say about it, click the link in the corner so you can check out my full review on Wall-E. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it really is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one I go back to all the time. It's a masterpiece. It's the best thing Pixar has ever produced. It's one of the best animated films you'll ever see. What more can you say, man? Wall-E is amazing. So, of course, let's take a look at the biggest new release of the weekend. I mean, a little film that you might have heard of. It's a movie about a knight who's dark, and I guess he goes after a clown in this movie, and it's supposedly based off of a comic book and all that type of stuff, and I don't know, this trailer looks promising, though.
You've changed things. Forever. There's no going back. See, to them, you're just a freak. Like me.
What do we got?
Nothing. No name, no other alias. Clothing is custom. Nothing in his pockets but knives and lint.
Evening, Commissioner. Why so serious?
Where is he?
People are dying. What would you have me do?
Endure. You can be the outcast. You can make the choice that no one else will face. The right choice. Gotham needs you. A little fighting you. I like that.
And you're gonna love me. Now that's more like it, Miss Wayne.
It's all part of the plan. Let's put a smile on that face.
Okay, no more BSing around here. Of course, it's The Dark Knight. It's the second film of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, the sequel to the Batman Begins, which helped to rejuvenate Batman in general. And, I mean, really, do I have to really say a whole lot about this that hasn't already been said already? Of course, the story, you have Batman, once again played by Christian Bale, raising the stakes in his war on crime with the help of Lieutenant Jim Gordon and District Attorney Harvey Dent, both played by Gary Oldman and Aaron Eckhart. Batman sets out to dismantle the remaining criminal organizations that plague the city streets. The partnership proves to be effective, but they soon find themselves prey to a reign of chaos unleashed by a rising criminal mastermind known to the terrified citizens of Gotham as the Joker, played, of course, by Heath Ledger. And, yeah, like I said, there's really not much more to say about this movie. This is my 6th favorite movie of all time. I've already done a video talking about why it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, just kind of running down everything here. I'll try to sum it up for you, honestly. But characters I thought are very good. The story is very solid. I love the interpretations of all these characters. You know, Christian Bale's very good in here as Bruce Wayne. Everybody in here plays their parts very well. Of course, the highlight of the film is the late Heath Ledger. The Joker, one of the great performances in the last 20 years. I mean, this is a fantastic portrayal of the Joker, and you can see why they were hyping this up as an Oscar-contending performance because, yeah, this was a performance that was so good. Chilling, terrifying, creating a whole new image of the Joker that we had not seen before at this point. And really, it's hard to find that we're ever going to see this ever again. I mean, what he did with this movie really is impressive to look at. Even after all these years later, it's still an impressive feat all across the board with this movie. I mean, these movies are pretty much the original Star Wars trilogy, the Nolan Batman movies. I mean, they are definitely very much that way. You know, both Batman Begins and Star Wars gave us a great introduction to these two worlds and characters and these great action sequences. Dark Knight and Empire Strikes Back, easily the best films of the series, and The Dark Knight Rises and Return of the Jedi, while they have flaws, are still really good movies all across the board. And it's one of the most perfectly put together movies in recent years. Like I said, I've talked about this movie in detail before on several other shows, but if you want to go check that out, hit the link in the corner to check that out. But, yeah, The Dark Knight is amazing. I mean, what more can you say except it's an amazing, amazing film.